FCOA Lesson 7a, Chest Deep Exhale Dives. By now you probably have noticed that your lungs compress on the way down. The deeper you go, the smaller they become. If you want to know what it feels like to hold your breath at 30 meters, then just completely exhale and hold your breath. It's a complete new feeling, isn't it? It's a sensation that takes time to get used to. And that's one of the reasons we like to practice exhale dives in chest deep water, to become familiar with the sensation of being compressed. Caution! Initially, practice this in chest deep water. You're doing something very extreme to your lungs. You're making them smaller than they've ever been before. Do it slowly. Feel your body. Keep your chin on your chest and your elbows near your ribs. Avoid sudden moves. When your lungs are at their smallest size, sudden arm or head movements can stress the tissues and cause bleedings. Be aware that if you pass out, you probably sink. Don't use a weight belt. Let's practice an exhale dive together. Ask your buddy to safety you. Exhale completely. Chin on your chest. Elbows near your ribs. Blow your last bubbles till you're empty. Go slowly down the line, fist over fist. Stay for a while. When you want to come back up, do it slowly. Once back on the surface, slowly inhale in a controlled fashion. Don't gasp for air to avoid inhaling water. Make eye contact with your buddy and let him check you as usual. Exhale dives can cause 4 distinct sensations. First of all, it's likely to cause general discomfort and tightness in the chest. Just back off a little if it's too much. Secondly, you could meet your equalizing challenge, which is great because now, even in a 1 meter deep pool, you can work on your equalizing techniques for deeper water. Thirdly, you could experience strong contractions. See if you can take control over them. Involuntary contractions can also cause lung injuries, so learn to control your diaphragm movement. Don't allow it to move against your will. The fourth possible sensation you might experience during exhale dives is the cough reflex. When you feel the need to cough, do your best to suppress it, because you don't want to start coughing at 30 meter depth. Probably, if you can suppress the urge to cough for about 10 seconds, the urge will go away. Another benefit of chest deep exhale dives is that it conditions the lungs for future deep dives, making them less prone to a condition called lung squeeze, a bleeding in the lungs. The medical world is not really sure about the consequences, but it makes freedivers insecure. It makes them worry about scar tissue, about how long they should rest, and if it could happen again. Doctors might advise X-rays right after the injury and 2 weeks later again to see if the lungs have properly healed. We should do all we can to prevent lung injuries, and chest deep exhale dives can play a role in that. The lungs branch down to alveoli, often compared with how trees branch down to leaves. The alveoli is an airspace surrounded by membranes with blood vessels that picks up oxygen and drops off carbon dioxide. During your first deep dive, when your lungs compress further than your residual volume, the alveoli get squeezed together. This can cause blood vessels to burst. But while you stay there at depth, the blood vessels start swelling up. They swell into the alveoli, and that's a good thing because it reduces the vacuum. This is called the blood shift. During your first exhale dives, this happens too slowly, but over time the blood vessels stretch easier and wider. On subsequent dives, the blood shift will happen faster, simultaneously with the pressure increase. But what to do if you do suffer a lung squeeze? There are certain phenomena you can observe in the minutes after the injury, so memorize the following lung squeeze checklist. 1. Spit in your hand. Is there blood? What's the color and the structure? Take a picture of it. 2. Blow your nose. Is there blood? Take a picture again. 3. Inhale and draw mucosa from your sinuses to your throat and spit in your hand. Is there blood? Is it more or less than the first time? And again, take a picture. 4. Exhale deeply and listen. Does your exhale sound dry or does it sputter? How deep does it sputter from? If there is a sputter, then repeat this test every 5 minutes till it sounds dry again. Record the sputter sound on your phone. Once on land, note down those 4 observations before you forget them. By the time you see a doctor, he won't be able to observe any of those phenomena anymore, so your notes are valuable. If the bleeding was only from the nose, then it probably was just a sinus bleed, something that usually heals overnight without consequences. This sinus bleed can trickle down to the throat. If the blood seems dark and fluid, then this is more likely the case. If the blood you spit in your hand looks bubbly and pink, then it probably came from deep in the lungs. On the way up, it got diluted with other liquids and the respiration mixed bubbles into it. If you hear sputter during your exhale, then probably you suffered a lung squeeze, even if you see no blood. The practice frequency. To get the most out of your exhale dives and to maintain the blood shift advantage, do 8 exhale dives per week. It is important to enjoy your exhale dives. Don't push them, don't scare yourself. No need to try and set records on exhale dives. Even if you keep them short, safe and shallow and well within your comfort zone, you still increase the speed of the blood shift and you still familiarize yourself with the sensation you will feel at a deeper depth. Today we will do 8 exhale dives. The first 2 are to familiarize yourself, to get used to those new sensations. During your second 2 exhale dives, you can try to extend the duration a little bit. The third set of 2 exhale dives are without mask. If water enters your nose, learn to accept it and stay calm. During the last 2 exhale dives, we will simulate a blackout response. At some point, stop communicating with your safety buddy and see how long it takes him to notice this.
Are you okay?
Oh yeah, I'm back. Yeah. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, it's okay.
All right.
James.
This concludes FCOA lesson 7a. Lesson 7b is about the physics behind the exhale dives.